welcome to the Provo Library Podcast. I'm Erika Hill. I'm the Community Relations Manager.
I'm Carla Gordon. I'm the Library Director. And today we are joined by
Joella Bagshaw, the Children's Services Manager.
Who sounds just slightly different than she normally does.
Oh, golly.
But sorry.
Yes, okay.
I'm pointing it out so that you feel okay if you need to cough or sneeze.
Sorry, everyone, for the future sneezing and sniffling.
It's fine. Or we might be really, really good at just editing it out. And now I've included useless details.
There you go.
That's not really what we're here to talk about today.
What are we here to talk about today?
We are here to talk about ABC This Book's For Me, a guide for parents and caregivers. This is a new thing. It was part of our strategic plan this year to create this. And we thought we'd talk about it, what it is, how you can use it, and in general, how you can choose books that you feel are best for your family, whether you have kids at home or not. It's really about how to find books that suit you. So,
yeah, I think we were going to start off by we have a lot of books.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot, and some of them I won't read, and some of them I would read, but you won't read.
Very true.
I read literally everything. Just kidding. I don't actually.
But it is sometimes hard to come in and find something that you can feel confident is going to be either right for you or right for your kids, right for your family, just trying to decide, because authors include things that are important to them that might not be important to you and might be important to someone else. And so we do get times when people feel like they took something home that they didn't like the message, or they didn't like something in it. And we really wanted to find a way to educate and just assist parents, just try to help them find ways to find the things most appropriate. Recommending books is stressful.
It is.
It is very much so.
I was thinking about my husband tells a story of he had this book that he really liked. It was a fantasy thing. He had read it a few years ago, and a friend asked for a book recommendation. He gave his friend this book, and he had forgotten that there was kind of a steamy section right towards, as some fantasy has.
Right.
He had just completely forgotten it. Anyways, so his friend came back with, this is what you recommend? And my husband was like, oh, yes, there was that one part. I now remember that. The rest of it's fine. But it's just hard because some things it just doesn't bother you, and it bothers someone else.
It's almost like trying to set people up.
Yeah.
And if it goes well, that's amazing. And you think these people will get along well, and they do. And it's a great match. And sometimes it goes so phenomenally badly that it causes a person to think what? Not only was that just a terrible experience, but what does that person think of me that they thought? And it can feel the same about a book. What does this person, it can impact your relationship in some way. Why would you think I would like that?
Well, and then you've got the added craziness of kids, right? Mm-hmm. Because when kids come to the desk to ask for a book recommendation, often they're in the stages of not being able to read, so they can't read book descriptions by themselves and things like that. So they're relying on the librarian or the parents to help them find the information that they need. But they also aren't really great at talking about what they want yet. Mm-hmm. So sometimes, I'll get the kid that comes up and is like, I need a dinosaur book. And that's all you can get from him or her. And eventually showing different kinds of books. No, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. I wanted the dinosaur book with the little boy and then you start, that's what you have to kind of navigate just the fact that they can't communicate and can't read very well.
Yeah. And that kids sometimes, they don't even judge a book by its cover. They judge a book on how available it is for them to grab. And so sometimes, having come to the library with children, sometimes they come up to you with a giant stack of books. And it's I don't even know what we have here.
But they were all within reach.
Yeah. And sometimes that's fine. I mean, I tend to feel that's just a fun discovery. And sometimes if we find things in books that, I have a son that it's triggered by certain things. And it's put that book away. Like,
That one's not for you.
You know, that one's not for you. Or sometimes it turns out they're boring, or, you know, but which is fine. That's a fine way to discover that you don't like something. But also sometimes a little bit of work at the front end can make your experience at home smoother.
And more positive.
But it does take effort. And I think one thing we want to acknowledge with these things that we're saying, like, it's not just coming in and grabbing the first thing. Like, that's really easy. But it's also more of a risk. Like, if I think I want to read a book, but I don't do any research behind it, sometimes I get into it and I'm like, what is this? Or sometimes I'm delightfully surprised. But it does take a little bit of time to be able to review something and decide if it's something you want to take home. So we acknowledge that this is a little bit more work, but also that if it's important to you that you are filtering what is going into your home, there are tools, there are things that hopefully we can help make it as painless as possible and as quick as possible, and just by knowing where to go to find the information that you're probably looking for.
Yeah. So should we get into it? Should we talk about the ABCs?
Excellent.
Now I'm going to start singing. Just kidding,
Right?
I'm not.
No. So A in this context stands for ask a librarian.
Because any book in this whole collection, there's 250,000 books, and you walk up to a librarian, they're going to know exactly what's in
Read every single one of them.
one. That is not true.
That is not true.
That is not true. But if you know what you're looking for, like asking a librarian, they know a lot of the books. And some of the things, the B and C, they may have already done and can give you a help, or can just give you a few tips on places to look or things to try to avoid. Or I can't tell you the number of family trips I saved about 20 years ago when Wicked came out and everybody loved the music and everybody went to the musical, and then they'd come in and they'd say, we're going on a family trip and we're going to listen to Wicked together. And I said, no,
choice.
you're not going to do that. Listen to Wizard of Oz if you'd like to. But it's got some adult content in it. And
It's not for the whole family.
it's not. They improved that story with the musical, I feel, a lot.
I actually agree with that statement.
It's true.
I haven't even read the book.
Gregory Maguire
because
has
we've
some,
had this discussion.
He has some really good ideas. Like, his way of changing fairy tales is so interesting, but they're always just a little too dark for me. They're almost hilarious, but then turn dark. Anyways, but I could tell someone this
Because
is not
you
the
knew.
experience you're looking for.
I mean, similarly, I remember when J.K. Rowling's first book after Casual Vacancy, right, came out. So it was like one of the first things non-Harry Potter related that she had published. That is a fine book, but it is an adult book about adults acting in terrible ways. Like, my husband listened to it and he's like, these are all terrible people. Like, it was interesting because it's full of like political intrigue and all this sort of like things that people do to try and get ahead, because it's like a vacancy in a parliament seat or something like that. But if you liked Harry Potter,
Yeah, that's not it. And if they had come up to the desk at any point and say, I like cleaner things. Is this going to bother me? They usually know
Yeah.
a lot of those things.
Well, and besides asking just a librarian at the desk, we have lots of other resources, right? So it's kind of like asking a librarian. We have our blogs that we have more information about a book that we've read and we're reviewing. We also have like the personalized reading recommendations where you can put specific things in. So if you don't have time to come to the desk because there's 20 people in line for name tags for story time, you can do that online and still get the information that you want by asking a librarian.
and I think with personalized reading recommendations, I don't want to get a flood of people doing this necessarily, but I think that you have an option to say, put these books on hold for me. Like, I would like some recommendations of books and I would like them put on hold for me. So you could just say, I'm really in the mood for Harry Potter read-alikes, and hand
That
it
are
to
checked in.
that are, and then you'll get just holds notifications when those things you asked for came in. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
So ask a librarian.
Ask a librarian.
That is our A.
A.
That's it.
B. browse the book.
Browse the book.
Browse the book. We're actually going to do a little demonstration here.
Because what does that mean to browse the book?
Sometimes even just casual flip through the book can really tell you a lot of things that you might need to know. So we have here The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, which we acknowledge is complicated in this
Very much so.
time.
This was the book that was on my shelf that was a good example of these things.
It was.
Neil Gaiman is problematic. We're going to brush past that.
We are.
And just talk about his book.
Though I do really like this book.
This is a cute book.
Anyway, so first glance, you see, if you're listening to this, you don't see. I suppose that I will describe it for you. There is a shiny gold sticker that says this has won the John Newbery Award, which means that a group of librarians thought that this was the most distinguished contribution to American literature for children when it came out in probably 2000. It probably won it in 2010. I think it came out in 2009.
And what it doesn't mean is this book is for everyone.
No, it is not for everyone.
Correct.
And just so people know, the Newbery Award is the best for children up to 14 years old, but it doesn't mean it spans the whole age range of that.
That's a good point.
So then you can do the thing that people often do, which is flip around to the back and see. And just reading the blurbs can give you, again, kind of a sense of what this might be. Like a bite of dark Halloween chocolate, this novel proves rich, bittersweet, and very satisfying. Or, that's from the Washington Post, or from Kirkus Reviews, wistful, witty, wise, and creepy. So, again, it starts to give you a sense of that this book is, might be funny. A lot of people think it's good, but it's a little darker than some literature you might encounter for children.
And reading the synopsis on the back too, like I think it says that his parents die right off.
It just says he's an orphan being raised by ghosts.
Okay.
But
If someone's raised by ghosts,
Oh,
their
no.
parents are gone.
but if Bod leaves the graveyard, he will be in danger from the man Jack, who has already killed Bod's family.
Yep.
So
There's
some violence.
There's some death in there.
And then again, you can read who's blurbed it. There's a blurb from Diana Wynne Jones and one from Holly Black, who are kind of well known for writing children's fantasy. I don't know, Diana Wynne Jones. I don't know if really children's, but
She has some children's.
okay.
And Holly Black is often more associated with teen, actually.
She is. Yep, she wrote the Spiderwick Chronicles, but yeah. And then finally, I mean, you can also flip through. This one has illustrations that again give you a sense.
Which, if you're looking at a picture book, like that's a
big part of it.
Like you can
through and
flip through and
seeing
see
what the pictures are
style of the
so.
pictures and everything. This one has a bloody knife, the very first picture, even though it's in black and white, but there was a hand in the darkness and it held a knife. So again, if that is something that might prove troubling to a child in your life,
This is not the book
this
for
is
them.
not the book for them. And then finally, our last sort of browse the book tip is to look in the copyright material. The Library of Congress provides subject headings for most things. And again, it can give you a pretty good indication of, it's useful for our catalogers to know what keywords to use.
And it's usually just behind the title page. So if you find the title page, it's within a page or two. It'll be tiny print.
Although in picture books and board books, sometimes it's at the very end, depending upon
how
the setup of the layout of the picture books and the illustrations.
Yes. So this one has 3 listed: dead fiction, supernatural fiction, and cemeteries fiction. So all of that can prove useful to you. That took probably 2 minutes, maybe more, because I talk a lot. But if I weren't narrating it and getting sidetracked, relatively quick. But if there are if a theme is important in a story, a lot of times it'll end up in those subject headings.
Mm-hmm. Or somewhere on the cover or the blurb or the something. It's often there.
And you can also, if it matters to you, you can look up what certain awards mean. There's actually a lot of shiny stickers, not just the Newbery Award, but you can look up, for example, the Pura Bel Pre Award is for
Latina
or
Latinx
books. The Stonewall Award is for LGBTQ children's books. The Coretta Scott King Award is for
African American.
And so there's a lot of, if you do just a little bit of research about what the award is, it can tell you pretty quickly if there's something that you may or may not want in your home. So
Truth.
That is handy.
That is browsing the book.
Browse the book. Thanks. The Graveyard Book. I do actually really like this book.
I know, it's good.
And now it's a complicated thing to recommend.
It's a complicated thing to recommend. C is for check reviews. Is
Correct.
That right?
Yes.
Yes, I remembered correctly. It's for check reviews. So there are lots of places where you can go to find other people's opinions on books. And like they had Kirkus, they had some reviews in there. Sometimes those things will be in Amazon. You can look them up in different places. What are some of the other places on our...
Goodreads has a lot of different reviews from people. On our website, if you click on our catalog and then you scroll down, when you're clicking on the book, it will have a lot of the professional reviews that are in there as well. And it also can link to Novelist, which has links to more professional reviews as well. And those often give... So Novelist is a fun database. We talked about the Library of Congress subject headings that are in there. The Library of Congress usually only puts 3-ish in on the verso of a page, but Novelist will actually have more themes that are listed so that you can find other books that are like something. And so there's more themes that way. Novelist, there's the Gale authors and books and authors that we have that's part of our database as well. And those, the Gale books and authors and the Novelist and some of the reviews that are in our catalog can all be found from our catalog computer. So you don't even have to log in to a computer to look those things up. You can do it just on your phone when you're browsing or on one of our catalog computers.
And then I think we listed Common Sense Media, which is a place that is not us, but it's someone that they'll often put in there what parents might be looking for. And I know I've used it more for movies.
Me too.
Because it's pretty good at like this kind of violence, this kind of...
It has this.
Yeah.
So
and,
beware.
And that's helpful if you know what you're looking for, if you know what will trigger your child.
I had a moment that I just remembered seeing something the other day that was a screenshot of the advisory on the movie Twister.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's rated PG-13 for intense depictions of very bad weather.
Well,
accurate.
It is accurate.
I actually was asked once to be a part of someone was doing something like Goodreads or like Common Sense Media, and they were like getting readers to read books and then put in like what was objectionable to them. And this is one reason why I have a hard time recommending books sometimes, because I didn't like my experience. I read like half of a book looking for objectionable things and realized that it ruined
the experience of reading books.
So I usually I can just glance over things and I'll be like, oh, this is getting steamy.
Well, just skim.
Just skim a little bit. So sometimes I forget. But they are really good about having people that go in and they're pretty thorough. They do a good job.
They are.
Was there anything else on the list?
No, I think we hit all of them.
Yeah, that's all we have in the guide. I will also say that there are other, even if you're not a parent, like I really like to read romance, but I don't like all romance, and there's sometimes, there are really helpful, there's one called romance.io that will do like a spiciness meter. I think Novelist will do that also, sometimes they do it with like chili peppers. Sometimes they do it with
so funny hearts. Or...
Yeah. And that can also just be a way to see like, is this, and they've even started using like descriptors. So I have discovered I am a closed door romance kind of person.
You want it to fade to black.
Yeah. Yep. I'm cool. People, adults engaging in consensual behavior is totally fine for me.
You don't want details.
And I don't need to be there. I can just know that that's happening. And move past it. So that's what I like.
There's actually quite a few resources out there. And when you find one that works for the kind of things that you're reading,
it's really
bookmark
useful.
it.
Yeah.
And come back to it.
So, anything else we want to say about this guide?
And mostly that it's just something to be useful to people, because we want people to find the right books. And not every book is for every person, and not every person is for every book. But we have all of the things, and we have resources so that we can help you find the right thing so you can have that enjoyable experience. And if you need to find, I know how many times have you had to look for specific books for your specific kids, or for me with my kids, they want specific things, and it's just a better experience when I take a stack of books home that I've already looked at, that I know what's in there, and I know that it's going to be perfect for my kid, and it's just the right thing. So a little more work makes good reading at home, and we want you to have the best reading opportunities with your family.
I just keep thinking about how I came home from work yesterday, and on the book was the book my daughter brought home from the school library. And it was like a Spanish vocabulary book. And I said to her, why is this book in Spanish? Do you want to learn Spanish? And she's like, no, it's just the one I grabbed. To your point. So.
Yep. My son last night was flipping through one of my middle grade comic books, and every page he was like, he's 4, he can't read. Mom, what are they doing? Mom, what are they doing? Oh, is this scary, Mom? Is this a scary part? Because the bus exploded or something. And it wasn't the right book for him, but at the same time, he picked it up because it was on our shelf.
It's right there. Yeah.
There is also, this is probably just a completely different podcast topic altogether. There is something to be said for sometimes encountering something new in a book that you've never encountered before. Actually, I'm going to talk about that a little bit when we get to our book.
Go ahead.
Things. Oh, we'll just talk about it now.
What books have you been reading?
We're going to transition from, so that's the guide. We hope it's useful to you. Ask a librarian. I just said librarian.
You did, but I was
so embarrassed by that. Ask a librarian.
It's fine.
It is fine. Browse the book. Check reviews. It's all fine. So now we're going to talk about things that we've read recently and loved. And the thing that I read recently, I had never read this book before, was Esperanza Rising.
I've never read that.
No,
it's such a good one.
I know. I read Echo, which is
also good.
Also good. But I read Esperanza Rising because my son recommended it to me.
Oh.
Because he'd read it in school and he got a free copy of it and he brought it home. And he said, Mom, I think that you will really like this book. And so we've been reading it. It has taken months because of things. But when you only read a little bit before bedtime every night,
it takes a while when it's a whole chapter book.
And as I'm reading this, I'm thoroughly enjoying the story. Esperanza Rising is a story of a girl. It's in like the Dust Bowl era. And she's a wealthy daughter of a rancher. They grow roses and grapes and I think have cattle, just a wealthy family, lots of resources in Mexico. And then there's a catastrophic fire and her dad passes away and her uncles just want to take over. And through a series of trials and tribulations, she and her mother come to the United States to be farm workers in California at the time when people are also coming from Oklahoma. None of this sounds like it would be appealing to my 10-year-old Minecraft-loving son. And so as I'm reading this book, I'm not only thinking about how it's really well written, this is a great story, all these things, but also like, what is it that makes Calvin love it so much? And we talked a little bit about it, and sometimes I kept asking, like at one point I was like, Calvin, does anything happy ever happen in this book? I was like, yes, I promise it does, Mom. It gets better. It gets better. But really they go through so many hard things. And I asked him a couple times, like, what makes you like this book? And he was like, it's just a really good story. Like, but sort of reading through in between those lines, like, this is my son experiencing a life that he will never know, could never have known. Mm-hmm. Learning a little bit of empathy, learning a little bit about problems that he will never face, but that other people can face. And so that was a fantastic experience, and something that we probably would not have experienced if we didn't experience it through a book.
You would not have recommended that to him. And that's what I think was like, you wouldn't have just looked at like, thought, oh, my son would really like this.
This book with a floating girl and a rose on the cover, I will admit, is not typically what I've been bringing home for him, because, I know what he likes. And so I've brought him Dog Man, and I've brought him Wings of Fire, and I've brought him the Percy Jackson series, and, things, those more kind of action-oriented or creature. I mean, we read so many bug books when he was...
You did.
We did. So anyway,
cool.
That was my reading experience.
That's fun. Talking about things that we will never experience ourselves.
Oh.
My book is called A Marriage at Sea, and I will forget her name, by Sophie Elmhirst. I feel like the subheading is deceptive. It says a true story of love, obsession, and shipwreck. I don't know, obsession is a little strong of a word, but it's a true story. It's about a couple in the 60s, 70s that sell everything, buy this sailboat, and then head off into the ocean. And they get hit by a whale, the boat goes down, and they are on a life raft for months together, eating turtles. Oh my God. So it was really interesting. I just... Raw turtles. I mean, because eventually they run out of, they have something, some supplies for a while, but I just like reading it, spoiler-ish, but not really. They survive and they are rescued. But just reading it, one of the girls that read it with us, it was for my book club, and she's like, I would have just jumped in the ocean. I am not a survivor. I don't want, this is enough. That last turtle was the last turtle I'm going to eat. And, but then when you think of being there with one other person, I adore my husband. He's amazing. We would kill each other on a boat alone for months. I don't think we would. I think he would say he would throw me in, and I would say, I'll save you the trouble, and I would jump. I just don't think we could have done it. But they survived, and it's really interesting. They have some depression stuff. Obviously, they're at sea for months. Anyways, it was really interesting. And then the last part of the book is about them coming back, and they're kind of celebrities when they came back. And so you go from being completely isolated to...
Everyone knows you.
Yeah, anyways, it was a really interesting thing that I never want to experience. I was telling someone, I am taking people with me when I go on a cruise. I don't want to be alone with my husband. But it's mostly because he sleeps. He's got a night job, so he sleeps during the day, and I would just be bored. So anyway, I liked it, but it was interesting, and I think I would just want to die. So I really, really admire them for how hard they tried to stay alive.
Yeah.
Anyway, what'd you read?
So the book that I just finished last night that I was listening to, I was helping my son get ready for bed because I couldn't stop until I was done. The Last Hope School for Magical Delinquents, and it's by Nicki Preto is the name. And so in this particular world,
is this middle grade?
Middle grade. Yeah, I do middle grade.
I know. Sometimes you don't. It's a Regency romance.
Middle grade and Regency romance.
No, I mean, I did a YA last month that I read, but mostly I do middle grade. Anyway, in this particular world, there are people that are non-magic and people that are magic. And in order to keep everyone happy and healthy and sane, there's rules as to what magical people can do and how far they can let their magic get out of control, which is a little bit tricky when you're children that are discovering your magic and don't know how to control it. And so we have the main character, her name is Vin, and she is at a school and everyone's learning how to conjure fire and doing fire spells, but they think she's crazy, so because she's a new student, so they keep throwing all of their fire spells at her, and all of a sudden a giant fire just erupts in the room, and they're like, you can't control anything. Let's send you to this Last Hope School for Magical Delinquents. And so it's all about learning how to control your magic, but then there's all this intrigue of someone is trying to sneak into the Last Hope School, and the school board wants to shut it down because they don't want anyone to be in control. And there's all these magical people outside of the school called free mages who want there to be no rules or regulations around to how magic is controlled, because they think that non-magical people are just whatever, and they should just suck it up and let everyone that has magic rule over them. So it's got all these intrigues, and basically Vin is just this amazing character who's trying to not get in trouble, trying to not ruin the school, doesn't understand her power because no one's given her a chance to. And then there's these 3 quirky friends that are like, we're going to be your friend no matter what. And she's like, I don't trust anybody because of what I've been through in my past. And of course, at the very end is like, oh, this is all satisfactory, a great ending. And then there's this, oh no, there's got to be another book.
I was about to say, is it setting up a series?
It is setting up a series, and I'm going to be really mad if there isn't a series because it was that good. So there you go.
You can look that up. That information probably exists about whether she got a 1-book deal or a 3-book deal.
That is probably something I could look up. I did not look it up after I finished listening and then finished putting my son to sleep. So
I don't know where your priorities are.
I know.
Went to bed. You needed some sleep.
I did go to bed right after my kids went to bed last night. I went to bed last night.
That is how I go too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Well, there we go.
I think that's us for today. So hopefully you can pick books that are great for you. Maybe one of these 3 that we just recommended, or anything. And until next time, we'll see you later.